Rachely, over to you though. Please tell us from what you know, even how things have gone these last days with the teams that have been in Israel, then everything that you would like to share with us about how to pray. This is Rachely. You've seen her before, amazing woman of God. She is filling in, of course, for Iran today. And Rachely, over to you. Thanks. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, everybody. And it was so great to meet so many of you here in Israel. I have to say it was the biggest intercessors delegation that we saw at the NLC ever. So
Yeah.
it was really, really nice. Um, and thank you for coming. Thank you for your prayers and your hugs. It was amazing. Well, the congressional tour, the congressional visit to the NLC on August 4 was uh, above all expectations, even ours. Especially, our team was always saying, we just hope everything will be okay, no problems, no incidents with electricity, and whatever could go wrong didn't. So it was really amazing, very touching. The speeches by Speaker Johnson and Ambassador Huckabee really, I could see, I was sitting in the back, and I could see it touched the heart of many Israelis there. It was amazing to see, for example, Speaker Johnson. He went up to speak holding on his Bible.
Yeah.
And he spoke about the stones that he took from the valley of Elah. Anyway, it was just an amazing day. And until today, we heard from Mayor Shetbon, the mayor from Ariel, that the city, the citizens in the city, they feel so proud, they feel so touched by this visit. It was not just, he said it was not a political visit. It was a declaration of support, and to Samaria, of course, and to Israel in general. So I can only say that every step of the way it was amazing. And today we had a delegation of some members of the board of UCA, and it was also very good. A short visit, but very, very to the point and very, very good. Also, they planted vines in the NLC, and we can only thank you all for your prayers, and thank God for bringing you to the NLC, to Israel in general, especially in such a time as we are living now. It's challenging. We know that there are many attacks, even against people who support Israel abroad, anywhere in the world. We saw something on the news about London, an Iranian person who actually was in a protest, in a manifestation in support of Israel. He was brutally attacked, physically attacked. He was sent to hospital. And so we know it's challenging. I told Julie Collier today that we know that people who support Israel go through challenges. So we pray for you, for you to be covered, because we know how it is. So thank you, and let's continue praying for each other. Tomorrow we have another group, and it's also going to be interesting because it's a group from the colleges in the States. And we know what is happening in the universities and colleges, all the anti-Semitism. But these young people are actually coming to show support. And they will do some active support by climbing the leap of faith. I don't remember how it's called in the ranch, but It's going to be amazing. Now, a word from Iran, if I may.
Mhm.
Yesterday, he was with the delegation by the border with Gaza Strip. They were seeing all the kibbutzim, all the communities there that were attacked on October 7, 2023.
Mhm.
And, for him, it was very hard. He was commenting on that today because he was like on this side of the border, knowing that on the other side of the fence, his son Itamar is there.
Yeah. Wow.
Um, he's fighting Gaza. So also thank you for your prayers on his behalf and on behalf of Itamar and also
Mhm.
Iran and Levavit. Uh,
Yeah.
it's hard for parents these days who have sons and daughters in the Israeli army serving right
Mhm.
now. Um, well, about other news about Israel, just to comment that the lies continue to be,
Mhm.
we all know these are fake news and lies about the hunger in Gaza Strip.
Mhm.
You also, probably all of you saw the cover on the Time magazine
Mhm.
with the children holding up empty pans, empty plates.
Mm.
Well, it's Hollywood, Gaza wood industry
Mm.
of lies. And a picture was actually uh, published showing what was really going on, how that journalist was showing, was staging the picture.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, other Arabs from Gaza itself, they show the markets being set up with plenty of food being sold by the Hamas.
Wow.
It's the humanitarian aid that Hamas actually stole from the people. It was supposed to be distributed free, right?
Yeah.
And they actually stole it. The entire trucks was stolen. The civilians are being shot. Some of them are being shot to death by the Hamas itself.
Mm.
And then this food, these billions and billions of humanitarian aid coming from all over the world is actually being sold to them at
Wow.
very high prices. So hunger in Gaza, well, yes, those who cannot pay, but most of all, the hostages, the Israeli hostages that are still being held there for today 674 days. 674 days. I cannot imagine what their families are going through. And we know that of those 50, 20 are still alive,
Mhm.
but we are worried because they are not receiving not food. They are going. They are in a state of critical hunger, and they are not being medicated, especially those who really need it. The Red Cross is not paying a visit to them. Only at the end, when the hostages are being exchanged, as they say, by Palestinian prisoners, uh, only then the Red Cross appears on the frames, in the pictures, showing they are involved, kind of. The
Mhm.
other thing that is happening to actually try to get the food and medicine to the civilians in Gaza is that Israel, the Arab Emirates and Bahrain and Egypt, now Greece as well, are actually sending food to Gaza through parachutes. Each parachute has the capacity to hold 1 ton of food, one pallet of 1 ton of food, medicine, clothes. It's very hot here right now in this region.
Mhm.
today we had some places with 48 degrees, not Fahrenheit. So
Yeah,
you can imagine that's
I
a
know that.
lot for Israel.
Wow.
And in Gaza as well. As much as you go further south, it's even more hot than the center of the region. And well, uh, thousands of parachutes with 1 ton of food and medicine and other goods for the civilian population, each these parachutes uh, somehow is making the way to the civilians. So, well, I know I am preaching to the choir that you don't believe CNN and other mainstream media. So I know that you know the truth. And I want to connect, as usually we do, to connect everything to the weekly portion that we read this Shabbat. The weekly portion is from Deuteronomy, chapters 3 through 7. And the name of this portion in Hebrew is Va'et Hanan, and I will supplicate. And this is what Israel is doing right now, supplicating, imploring for an end of the hostages situation. And yes, an end of the war. At what cost? We don't know. We know that the government has its objectives, its goals, but most of all and above all, the families here really want to see their loved ones back home. Those who
Mm.
are alive, to be treated, to be embraced and be healed, and those who are dead to be brought to proper burial. Um, and in this parasha, there
Mhm.
are 3 verses that are the key, and they're very famous actually. One of them is Shema Israel. Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. That's one of them.
Mm.
The other one is Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and
Mm.
with all your might. That's in Deuteronomy 6, verse 5. One thing that is interesting about this parasha, this weekly portion, Moshe,
Mm.
he implored, he supplicated for God's blessing upon the people. He could see the promised world, the promised land. He didn't enter the promised land. He could have said, okay, I know I'm not going to enter, so what do I care about the people, about the land, about the future? But no, he actually prayed, he actually reminded them of God's laws and God's love, and reminded them that they were freed from Egypt. A kind of reminder not to want to go back to slavery, because some of them, previous years, during those 40 in the desert, they really wanted to. They were angry. Oh, we are hungry, and you brought us to die in this desert, in this wilderness. In Egypt, we had food. Okay,
Mm.
you had food, but you were a slave, right? So he reminded them. This is something that, for me, it was striking, because many people in Israel these days are kind of saying, uh, it's hard in Israel with the war, with the situation. Let us leave to other countries that are actually where the Jews and Israelis are being brutally attacked. Um, but they don't care. And many of us that are here are actually saying it doesn't matter what we as a nation here inside are going through. we have to return to God. We have to hear the Lord our God because he's one and he loved us enough to give us this land, to promise this land and give it to us. Um, and I also see from the same parasha, from the same portion, another verse that actually helps me really to stick to God. And that's from Deuteronomy 4, where it says, "For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. Ki Adonai Elohecha esh ochlahu el kana." He's a jealous God. He's jealous of his people, of his land. So dare we to say something against our land that he promised, that he has his name imprinted on it? I guess not. So for me, this parasha is like a wake-up call for us as a nation to stick on to God, to listen to him, to hear his voice, and just know that we have to love him with all our being, and remember that it was he who actually chose this place. For who?
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
And those who actually are grafted into our people. And I want to thank you, really, each one of you, for standing with Israel in prayer and in actions and in words, in declarations, uh, especially now, in these times that are challenging for anyone who actually chooses God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Raheli. That's super helpful to get that update. And so we see our prayer points there. 48, the Canadians will understand that. That's Celsius. Wow, that is hot. Yeah, let's keep speaking to not only that dust storm to move on, but to the heat itself. Um, Raheli, have you been exposed, like where you are, is the dust storm still swirling, or is that not such an issue right now? They actually canceled the helicopter rides for the tour tomorrow. Just quick thoughts on that.
In where I am, we didn't see that, but what does happen is fires, many fires
Oh,
because of
yeah.
dry fields or just a little something can cause a big fire. Actually, today on the way back home from the NLC, there was a big traffic jam on my way on the highway that I take back home. And on the distance, there was a huge black pillar of fire, of smoke, because
Mm,
there was a big fire on corn or something. I couldn't see exactly what is that field.
mm.
Um, it was really, really hard. Now, the storm, the dust and everything, it's more to the south and even in Jerusalem area,
Right.
especially in areas where you have much land and not so many greenery or constructions.
Okay. Right. Okay. Wow. Raheli, thank you so much. And so just a big picture for a moment. Australia just pledged to jump in that boat of wanting to demand a Palestinian state. Not so good. So much pressure worldwide against this Gaza campaign. I read off, if you came on late, just Prime Minister Netanyahu's goals for this, which seem reasonable, to get the hostages back and disarm Hamas and get security, Israel security of the land. And anyways, so lots of prayer points there. Please, let's just by way, if you came on late, there's a trip called the David's Mighty Warriors. These are select donors that are in the land now who are looking also at the expansion of the National Leadership Center and helping to finance that. So this is important that we're going to pray for them. There's USIEA board members there as well. They're all together at the Southern Steps right now. It'll still be going on or starting to finish because of the time zone difference. But anyways, so we want to keep praying for that trip, for those. And there's other prayer meetings that are going on for that trip as well. Raheli, thank you so much. Sharon, can we pray for Rachely in the NLC before we just shift off to other subjects? But go for it. Sharon's and her husband are the board chair members for JH Israel.
Thank you, Rachely, for all you're doing. We just heard just so much wonderful reports from last week, and I know they will continue.